Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Spirit series of ships, but in particular we're going to take a look at the A1, the bomber variant. Originally designed to be a competitor towards the Cutlass Black, there was some controversy at the beginning of this ship's release in the concept phase because there was a little bit of confusion with metrics and the size of this thing. Competitor to the Cutlass series of ships. Well, personally, I don't think there is any competition here. This ship and these series of ships in form of the Spirits are incredible. CIG really are starting to put the work in to get excellent ship design with attention to detail. Their shipbuilding skills have definitely shot through the roof, and I feel like the Cutlass Black in particular, well, let's say the Cutlasses are starting to show their age a little bit, especially when you compare it to a ship that looks as awesome as the Spirit. The Spirits look incredible. So we have the A1, which is the bomber variant. We have a C1, which will be with us very soon. That's the cargo carrying variant. And then of course we have the E1, which is like the elite tourism shuttle ship, which also I think will look amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that particular ship turns out. But for now, we'll focus on the A1. So the first thing that strikes me about this ship is just the shape of it. It looks really, really nice, really sleek looking design. Thrusters look amazing everywhere you look. The lighting on this ship is fantastic. It kind of has the cockpit from the Star Runner, which would make sense, it's the same company. Its wings are sort of splayed out, very similar to that of the Inferno and Ares Ion series of ships. But it also has that really unique low profile like the Eclipse. They've stolen a railgun on the back, not a railgun, excuse me, a turret on a rail. That's blatantly been copyrighted from RSI. They've taken that directly from the Scorpius and put it on the back of the Spirit, but I'm not complaining because this ship is incredible and I've had a blast flying this thing around. It's absolutely brilliant. In fact, they are so good, I'm very much considering getting the C1 as well, because they're easy to fly, they're so well built, they look fantastic, they handle really well. The A1 has plenty of firepower, obviously including the bombs, so there is a lot going for this Spirit series of ships. I'm very impressed with them so far. So let's talk about why I picked up one of these. Now, I originally made a video called My Fleet. It's about 7 months old, where I went over the ships I had in my personal fleet and the reasons behind why I owned those particular ships, and the Spirit A1 was in there as a bomber. So what was my intention to do with this fairly easy to fly, solable bomber? Well, the plan was originally, we knew at the time that base building would be a thing, claiming land would be a thing, and I said in that video, I'll put a card up if you want to watch that in the top right corner, I said in that video I wanted something that would allow me to strike ground targets. For example, if I've built a base, because we know base building is coming soon, development starts Q1 2024, which is amazing, I cannot wait. We'll discuss that in a separate video because I still need to do the Galaxy. However, back to the topic at hand. The reason why I wanted the A1 Spirit was simply because if there was a rival base or a ground facility that I needed to get into, I wanted the ability to take this ship and go drop bombs on an area to clear it out. Now, it could be an underground complex which is surrounded by multiple turrets. Having a ship of this capability, there isn't an A2 and massive that can get in there very quickly, deliver ordnance on target and wipe that ground force or potential threats on the ground completely out and allow me to do what I want to do. That was the whole point of this ship, and now that we are getting the base building, hopefully soon, I think this ship is going to be extremely useful, not only just for penetrating ground facilities or areas like that, but straight up, if anyone tries to build a base near me that's another player that I find is a little bit too close for comfort, then I have that strike capability, and it's a little bit sleek and faster than its big brother, the A2. So having that strike package in an easy to fly ship with just looks incredible is going to be an asset in my mind. We'll see how it all plays out, but that's the function that I wanted this ship to have in my fleet. I need that strike capability, because although we have other bombers in the game, the Retaliator, the Eclipse, torpedoes really won't cut it in those sort of scenarios. And the A2 is overkill. I don't want to be flying around dropping nukes. This is more of a precision tactical strike spaceship, and that's exactly how I intend to use it. So defense turrets, maybe there's infantry or players on the ground, maybe they've got ballistas and anti-air capability with what's the Spartan, not the Spartan, the Centurion, sorry. Those targets can be eliminated from a safe distance, and there's not really a lot they can do about it, because this ship is more than capable of clearing an area. It is absolutely excellent. So that was why I picked one up. My experience with the ship so far has been great. The cockpit is superb. There are touches and details within inside the ship that I really admire. We'll go over those as we go through the internal side of the video. So it just ticks all the right boxes for me to have an easy to fly tactical strike spacecraft that can clear areas. Is going to be extremely useful in my humble opinion. Okay, so let's go on to some of the features of this ship. The A1 Spirit is a mid-size multi-purpose light bomber manufactured by Crusader Industries. It is equipped with a payload of 10 rapidly deploying bombs and a strong set of weapons. The Spirit is capable of a wide variety of combat tasks. Features: bomb racks. The compact Chapelet rig utilizes twin racks with 5-size bomb payloads, each for rapid deployments. Weapons. As well as the bomb racks, the ship also has 4 size 3 gun hardpoints on the ship's wings and nose. A rear remote turret which can hold 2 size 2 guns, as well as racks that can hold 4 size 3 missiles. Cargo. With an access ramp and a small bay, the ship can accommodate a small vehicle to assist with ground operations. It also has an internal space for storage for the crew. Crew accommodation. Conveniently placed right behind the cockpit, the A1 has 2 beds to help with those longer flights. It is a crew of 1 to 2. It'll cost you standalone $200 on the website. For a war bond, it's $175. It's not available to buy in-game as yet. Specifications wise, the length of this ship is 47.5 meters and a width of 44 and a height of 10. So there is a huge plus to owning an A1 Spirit. Compared to other bombers, to my recollection, this is the only bomber in-game where I feel that you actually have the ability to dogfight. There is plenty of weapons at the disposal of the pilot, and if you have the co-pilot operating that remote turret, which is obviously been stolen off the Scorpius, then you've got quite a formidable amount of firepower. I don't really think you can dogfight in the Eclipse without getting shredded. You certainly can't do it in the Retaliator, and you almost definitely cannot be dogfighting in an A2 unless you turn that into a gunship, which is essentially what the A2 is when it's got no bombs left. But as far as dogfights go, the A1 Spirit has a chance to defend itself fairly respectably. As you can see, the animations for the guns popping in and out is amazing. So these are the shoulder mounted weapon systems of the Spirit. We have the chin turret as well, and then of course the turret at the back. The bomb bay looks incredible. We have this sort of flashing RGB red light indicating that bombs are going to be dropped. You can also note the missile racks there under the chin of the turret, which also have their own really cool animations. So even the underside of this ship looks incredible, and the convergence of the chin turret and the 2 shoulder mounted weapons there. So it puts out a respectable amount of DPS. Now, of course, they are cannons fitted. I would swap those for laser repeaters, and there you have, we have a bomber that has the capability. I'm not saying it's going to be good at dogfighting, but at least you have that option. I've only tried it against the AI. It's not really a competition, is it? But in a PvP environment, you might actually make it out alive. The bomb bay itself looks really good. They have their own independent covers, and you can see we have 10 slots to drop 10 bombs on quite a few victims. And then of course we have the remote turret that operates exactly the same as the one found on the Scorpius, which I think will come in very useful. Very smooth, cool, slick animation there. So not only can you defend against ships, but if you're doing a bombing run, you can actually shoot as you leave the area, shoot the ground targets. That might prove to be very useful. Let's talk about some of the aesthetics, because I think it looks credible. I absolutely love the engines. I think they look great. That typical Crusader blue. The startup of these engines, I mean, look at it. How cool is that? I mean, the CIG really are starting to get exceptional in their shipbuilding. It does have a VTOL capability as well. You can see the wingtips fold in and out, and at the bottom of the wings you'll note there is a thruster there. Quite a clever design, I think, to have the thrusters at the end of the wingtips and then act as VTOL. I quite like it. So in atmosphere, I've not noticed any real problems planet side with VTOL. I think the ship handles very well. So it looks incredible, incredibly sleek. Like I said, it sort of has the Inferno, Star Runner and Eclipse merged into one. There are aspects of every ship. The Eclipse has that long, sleek wing design. This kind of has that, but also has the typical Crusader design language in terms of the cockpit from the MSR. Definitely has Ares, Inferno and Ion vibes to it. Similar components that have been shared. Really, really like the rear of this ship, where you can see these red RGB lights on the tails. The ramp itself, when it opens, looks incredible. So this ship is really well built, and again, I think the C1, when I get my hands on that and have a good look around, I think I could possibly pick one up. Failing that though, I think the A1 would be a welcome addition, because I don't really have a tourism ship for those VIP missions at the moment. I've got 600i, but it's not the touring variant, so the A1 is looking pretty tempting as well. If it's going to turn out like this ship has, with its quality, then I think it's going to be a good time, because these ships look incredible. Okay, now it's time to take a look at the ship's weapons and components and what you will find on this ship stock. Okay, here we are with our Crusader A1 Spirit, and we'll start with the systems that you can find on board stock. So we have the cooler, which is a Boreal. It's one of those, size 2, grade 4. So military cooler, as you would expect. This is a military sort of variant of ship. Power plant, we have the, where is it? Ultra Flux, which is a size 2, also a military power plant. Now, I have had the ship shut down after some periods of time due to this not being a good power plant, and I will be upgrading it. And if you own this ship, I suggest you do the same. The power plant is not good, it just shuts down. Quantum drive, we have the Jaeger, which is again size 2 and military. I haven't travelled enough distance to decide if I want to swap this out. That would be at your discretion. And the shield generator, which is a size 2, is also a full stop. And again, I haven't been shot up enough to decide if I want to change that, but I more than likely will. But for now, definitely consider swapping the power plant and the cooler to maximise this ship's potential, because it does, after about 40 minutes of flying, it just shut down and I fell into the atmosphere and died a horrible, twisted, contorted death, which was, you know, fun. Missiles, we have the MSD-43 missile rack, and they come equipped with the Arrestor missiles. You get 4 of those. Those are size 3, so they will help you bring down anyone's shields, and you can probably finish them off with these weapon systems, which are the M5A cannons. These are size 3 grade 1 laser cannons. I will almost certainly swap these for something I find a bit more useful. They all are cannons on the ship, so I will be swapping those out. So those are the stock components and weapons that you will find on your brand new shiny Spirit if you've picked one up. Okay guys, so let's now transition to the internals of this ship, and they are incredible. I'm very, very, very happy with how these ships have turned out. The A1 in particular, I'm sure the C1 will be just as impeccable inside. So the rear of the ship, we have this wonderful RGB strip. You'll also note when the ramp was dropping, there was a caution light being projected on the floor, letting you know exactly where your ramp was going to deploy, which is an excellent touch. Whoever thought of that was a genius. I absolutely love that. So we have the entrance to the bomb bay here. Either side is flanked by components, and we have like a blast door. Again, with its own lighting, it's incredible. Here we have the bomb bay, where you will deploy these bombs and cause people serious harm and injury because they deserve it. It looks great. One thing I will say, I wish they'd run that red RGB either side of the walkway. I think that really would have been a very, very nice touch indeed. So the C1 is essentially what you're looking at now, but without the bombs. So it's going to be a fairly substantial cargo area for the C1 for those of you that love cargo running. But for now, we have 10 bombs sat here, size 5, more than capable of causing chaos. Looks incredible inside this ship, it really does. Then we go through to the neck of the ship, again, very similar to what we see with the Hercules and the Star Runner. This sort of tunnel, if you would call it that, is also flanked by components. Easy to get to. Engineers are going to have no problem. Well, there's a 2-man crew, so accessing your components is going to be important, but the fact of the matter is it's extremely easy to do so on this ship. Everything is really well thought out and actually quite spacious internally. I was very surprised by how roomy it is. There's onboard beds, small kitchen facility, and a toilet on board this ship as well, so you're going to be catered for those long journeys. The cockpit itself, again, look at the detail. It's absolutely incredible. Love the lighting, love that sense of Crusader really have stamped their authority on it. They've borrowed elements from the Hercules and the Star Runner with those round doors, airlock doors. They look absolutely brilliant. Co-pilot seat and a pilot seat, of course. So even though this is a humble dogfighting forward stroke bomber, you're still going to be fairly comfortable on long trips should you have to make them. It is not a horrible place to be at all inside the Spirits, which makes me very excited for the E1 variant, which is going to be Elite Tourism, because I'm interested to see how they use that space, because it's used absolutely brilliantly in this particular ship. You see the cockpit here uses just the 2 MFDs and a yoke system, so no HOTAS or HOSAS system. It is the yoke that you would find on the Star Runner, which we would expect is the same manufacturer. So internally, very impressive. What we'll do now, guys, is our walk around of the ship. I like to do this one because it gives you, the viewer, a sense of scale, and just to pick up on some of the nice details that can be found on the ship. So straight away, we have a very sleek looking spacecraft here. Chin turret, with the 2 weapon systems. We know they're laser cannons. Then we have the Crusader logo stamped on the nose with very sort of retro looking sci-fi lights on the front, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. Everywhere you look, this ship has interesting angles. There's thrusters, reverse thrusters there, more lighting. It just looks really, really awesome. I'm infatuated with these series of ships, I really am. And this is why I'm worried about the cutlasses. Now, the cutlasses are old school, and there's a very large loyal fan base. People love the cutlasses. Obviously, that's subjective, but I'd say a lot of people cut their teeth with the cutlasses. I certainly did. This is a competitor to the cutlasses. I honestly just don't see the competition. I think at some point, Drake might have to do a little Cutlass Black Mark II to bring it up to speed, because this ship is going to take all of their potential revenue. Look at it. So we have it in its VTOL configuration, wingtip lights there. Move round to the back of the ship. There's air inlets at the back. In atmosphere, these wings are obviously very useful. I didn't note the control surfaces when I was in atmosphere. I should have, so I can't tell you how it's going to handle when that all comes with the ship's flight surfaces, you know, flaps, rudders, ailerons and things of that nature, if it does have them, even spoilers. And then we come round to the rear of the ship, and again, the ramp itself is marked out by lighting, which I think just looks amazing, and the engines look incredible. Acceleration wise, this ship is pretty beastly for a bomber, and you need it to be to get in and get out. So we'll make our way inside the ship now. So up this wonderful ramp. And it is a very cool ramp. Look at that for an entrance. It's almost a sense of grandeur as you make your way into the back of this ship. It is absolutely superb in here. So we'll make our way up the ramp. And we're in. And we were walking really slowly there because apparently it's extremely windy. So we'll close the ramp. And that's a very nice animation. You'll note that the tip of the ramp folds in on itself as well. So here we have the power plant and cooler forward stroke shields compartment. So my only concern with having these at the back, I know we're getting ship trespassing soon, which is awesome. I really don't like the idea they're at the back. Make sure you lock your ship all the time or there's no one around you, because one person with a tractor beam is going to steal your stuff if the opportunity presents itself. Trust nobody. So here we have the batteries. If I can open it. There we go. Batteries component, which is going to be important. We learnt that in the resources management area of the CitizenCon presentation. So batteries are going to be important. And then we have the QT drive. All snug again. Very easy to get to and get those components in and out of your ship. On the flip side, potentially you're going to get your components stolen and then you've got a stranded ship. So double-edged sword, I feel. We have a engineer panel here. I believe it's an engineer panel here, or the ability to program the bombs, but we can select it to red alert. How cool is that? Just letting everyone know, you and your one crew member, that things are about to kick off and it's about to get violent. I love this. It's so immersive, this ship, for its size. They really have hit the nail on the head. So we'll shut this door. Like I said before, the only thing I think they missed a beat on is if they had those wonderful red RGB lights running either side of the walkway here. I think it really would have just added that extra effect. But it's a minor, if not really any kind of complaint. It's just, I think it really would have set it off nicely to have the two strips running up to this round door here. Would have been a very nice touch indeed. Judging by the caliber of this ship and how awesome it looks internally and externally, I actually think it's a very reasonable price point, and I think the C1 will be the same, and I think the A1 is going to be not the A1, sorry, the E1, the Echo variant, is going to be absolutely worth it while they're in the concept phase. So maybe at IAE, if you haven't picked one up, maybe considering upgrading from an older ship to get all of this wonderful goodness that Crusader Industries are providing. Right, we make our way into the neck of the ship. We have more component areas here. Gravity generator and life support. Again, extremely easy to find, easy to use. One button opened it, and then tractor beam, everything else that's broken. We have our server area here, which would be for avionics, sorry. That's going to be for things like your blades, where we can operate the remote turret via AI. And then we have this interesting screen. I have absolutely no idea what any of this means, but we'll go with the rule of cool, and I'm glad it's there. So I'm guessing ship status, system analysis, all that good sci-fi nerdy stuff. And that was in the radar area of the ship. That brings us through to the bridge, forward stroke, cockpit area. So we have the toilet in here. So you're going to be catered for in terms of hygiene, which is good. Toilet folds out, pops out. It's actually very clean. Again, though, this is the issue I have with the Star Runner. It's right next to the bed, so hopefully no one needs to use that while you're trying to sleep, surrounded in stench. Small complaint, but functionally it does what it needs to. Weapon rack here. It's just such a really well built ship, you know, very versatile combat wise, varying combat tasks, a lot of fun to be had with this ship. The ability to store a small vehicle in the back, I personally don't want to do that because I really don't want anything rattling against 10 size 5 bombs in the back. But if you're braver than me, then at least you'll be able to bring a vehicle. So there's a lot going for this ship. We have a kitchenette area here. Fortunately, we can't get any hot drinks at the moment, but we have the food storage, which does work. Very pleasant. A nice thing to have on those long bombing journeys. It's really cool in here, guys. I know I keep saying that. I can't help it. It's I'm so impressed. And then we have storage, which does open, and of course you get storage of your character. You can store whatever you need for your particular journey. Each crew member has their own storage bin located above the bed. You'll notice a light switch there as well. Light switch, which is very important, stops you having to get in and out of bed, and of course a TV screen at the end. So at least we can log out and log back in and be in exactly the same position and carry on our mission. So very useful to have beds in most ships. But it's quite a nice touch that they're just behind the cockpit as well, so you can log in and hop in and away you go. So we'll jump in the co-pilot seat, so we can look out the front. Okay, so we have our various switches, but to operate the remote turret, first we have to turn the co-pilot station on, which is power on here. Okay, then we have the exit, and then deploy and enter remote turret. So we can deploy the turret, and we can also enter it from here as well. And as you can see, it says repositioning turret, so that'll be doing its thing externally, moving up and down the rails. Again, this will be useful because it rotates to underneath the ship. So imagine you're coming in on a bombing run. As you leave, you're still able to put rounds on target as you're leaving and exfilling the area. So that's a very cool touch. Not sure how RSI feel about that, but Crusader have done it anyway, because, you know. So that's how you operate the turret. The co-pilot does have access to the 2 MFDs, which is normally, we'd expect more, but we don't. I think that's kind of like, yeah, you really need a co-pilot. Let's maximize the potential and use all 4 MFDs. You can see the co-pilot has the yoke system, just the 2 MFDs, the same with the pilot. Visibility wise, it's absolutely fine. It's brilliant. No complaints from me whatsoever. Everything seems to work. Everything was functioning when I tested it briefly. So now we'll jump into the pilot seat. We expect the same excellent seat animation where we get dragged in our seat to the top. Nice little rotation, and boom, we are in and we are cool. So here we have all of the display, and of course just the 2 MFDs again. Normally in most ships we have 4, 5 or even 6 in some scenarios, but just the 2, which is fine, and everything is awesome. Visibility perfect. Look at the sky, it looks amazing. Small RGB lights above us. Everything is very cool in here. The buttons are easy to read. My only complaint is, I know they've made some of the buttons function. Not all of them do. Fair enough. But I think this blue writing needs to go, because they're really well labelled. Like, I can actually read the labels without having that really annoying blue writing popping up. Just get rid of that and let me press the button. You know, it's a small, tiny complaint. Otherwise, guys, fantastic ship. So there we go, guys. That was my video on the Crusader A1 Spirit, the bomber that can dogfight and is impeccable internally and out. If you enjoyed today's video, you know what buttons to press, and I will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.